The treacherous journey of a penguin and its egg. This is Sega Masters. Today's episode marks our entry into 1988, which for better or for worse would be a watershed year for the Master System in North America. Up first for that year is Penguin Land, a rather unusual action puzzle that can best be described as Nintendo's Ice Climber in reverse, with a little Lode Runner mixed in. And this game arrived in the US during a critical point for the Master System. By the end of 1987, Sega had sold around 100,000 Master System units in the US, which was easily dwarfed by the 2 million NES units that were in gamers' homes at the time, and the gap was widening. Not even an endorsement from legendary film critics Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert on their holiday special was enough to turn the tide in the Master System's favor. Something obviously had to be done if Sega's console was going to have a fighting chance in the States. Bruce Lowery, who served as the head of Sega's American branch from 1986 to 1988, put it bluntly when he said, "While we had gotten into all the retailers Nintendo did, we simply did not have the resources to compete against Nintendo's huge marketing budget, and the decision was made to look for a partner." Sega already knew the benefits of a partnership with an established marketing force. They enlisted UK software giant Mastertronic to distribute the Master System throughout Europe in 1987, and Mastertronic's marketing prowess helped the console eventually become a success there. Thus, Sega hoped that joining forces with someone who had inroads into the American toy industry could help their console better compete against Nintendo in the States. And that partner turned out to be Tonka. Yes, that Tonka. The Minnetonka, Minnesota-based company specializing in toy trucks and pound puppies. Sega figured Tonka's considerable clout in the toy biz was just what their console needed to get better market penetration. And a 2-year deal was struck by the end of 1987. Putting Tonka in control of the Master System's American marketing and distribution. While Tonka didn't skimp on marketing the console, ultimately the alliance didn't quite have the results Sega and Tonka were hoping for, since marketing video games is quite different than marketing toy trucks. We'll get more into that down the line. Getting back to our first game of 1988, Penguin Land is actually a sequel to our 1985 game that appeared on Sega's SG-1000 console in Japan. Apparently the game did well enough that follow-ups and remakes would eventually appear on some of Sega's other consoles, with this Master System entry the only one in the series to get a Western release. As the title suggests, the cart stars this penguin named Overbite who, according to this intro, is apparently on a mission to rescue some penguin eggs that are lost in space, or something like that. In any case, the object is simple. Guide your egg safely from the top of the vertical frozen cavern to the bottom without breaking it, and within a given time limit. So yes, this game is a series of escort missions, and naturally getting from point A to point B with your egg intact is far easier said than done. You make your way down to the bottom by digging holes in the ice for you and the egg to drop through to a lower floor, being careful not to let your egg fall too far down the screen or it'll break open. Thankfully, an indicator is provided to show how far it can drop without injury, which equates to 3 vertical spaces. Some ice is already cracked and will disintegrate under the egg's weight, causing it to drop by itself, yet you can't dig through the cracked ice yourself for whatever reason. You also have to protect the egg from the level hazards that threaten it, such as egg-crushing spikes that descend from overhead ledges, and polar bears prowling the cavern which will smash your egg without a second thought if they get near it. They'll also punk you out if you get in their way. Overbite himself can't really die, as taking a hit from a bear or spiked block will only stun you for a few seconds. Only losing the egg will force you to restart the level. You can even dispatch the bears yourself by crushing them with something, like these boulders that can be dislodged and used as blocks. Other elements constituting the level include special trapdoors that only allow yourself or the egg to pass through depending on its symbol, as well as moving platforms and indestructible gold blocks that can help or hinder your progress. Reach the control room at the bottom of the cavern with the egg in one piece, and your little penguin buddies will carry it off in triumph, leaving you to receive your bonus points. Then it's off to the next level to do it all over again. Penguin Land contains 50 total stages, though you can choose which of the first 30 levels you want to start from. For the most part, the gameplay in Penguinland is done pretty well, and provides a good enjoyable challenge for your brain. The controls do take a bit of practice to get used to, especially with jumping into narrow openings or digging in precise spots, but are mostly easy to use. Each level gives you multiple ways of going about your mission, enabling you to try different strategies each time. The cart even allows you to pause the action, using the pause button on the console, and scroll down through the path ahead of you, which is very helpful in charting your route to the bottom. And you'll definitely need that feature since poor planning can lead to some frustrating moments. Especially since the egg's demise will force you to restart the entire level from the beginning, even if you're just a few floors from the end. If the egg ends up trapped in a narrow space with no way to dig it out, you'll have no choice but to smash it yourself and start over. You also have to be careful not to leave your egg unattended in one place for too long, or a bird will fly by and drop a brick onto it. Penguinland also suffers from pretty much having everything you're going to see in the game presented up front in the very first stage. No new obstacles or additions are introduced down the line. All 50 levels are just variations on the same elements. And every level looks pretty much the same, just with different colored backgrounds. In fact, if it wasn't for the intro that plays before each level, you wouldn't even know this game was set in space. Only a couple of character sprites are present, mainly just Overbite and the bears, but are pretty nice with some good details and animation. The audio just consists of some ho-hum sound effects and a couple of cutesy background tunes, which aren't bad, just not something you'll want to listen to for very long. Interestingly enough, Penguinland includes a level editor that lets you craft your own stages to challenge. It can be a bit tricky at times to make levels you can actually complete, but the interface is decent enough. And for once, your creation doesn't have to disappear when you turn the power off. Penguinland is the first Master System cart to include a battery, which can save up to 15 custom stages to share with others. Although you'll probably wish the programmers used that battery for a game save feature instead, since only the game's first 30 stages are selectable. You'll have to slog through the remaining 20 areas in one long trying run to see the ending with no way to record your progress. So Penguinland won't rank among the top action puzzlers, but overall still gets 1988 off to a solid start. The game is engaging enough to keep you interested, even with a few moments that will make you want to throw your controller, and your problem-solving skills will certainly get a good workout. It's not perfect, but if you can overlook the cart's flaws and the lack of variety between the levels, you'll have a fun time.